So welcome, friends and family. This podcast is to alert you all and to let you know about the Deep Soul Work North American Tour that's coming up in July and August of this year. I will be in North America, going from city to city, talking about deep soul work and presenting workshops, seeing private clients, and holding meet and greet social events, satsang, and it's going to be quite exciting. I want to bring some friends on here, and we're going to talk about and chat about what the tour will be like and what you might expect in the experience. So I'd like to bring on my friend Jane Cohen.
Hi.
Hi, Jane. Dion England and Leslie Lord Brown.
Hi,
welcome. Hi. Welcome.
Are we going to actually get to see Dion?
She is I believe she's at an event right now, so she can't show her face. I think she mentioned that before.
Oh.
And let's see. So I'm going to be arriving in North America through Los Angeles on at the beginning of July. And we're going to be presenting this tour of workshops, teachings, and the seeing of private clients, as well as special satsang like meet and greet events. Some of the lectures in the workshops will be streamed live, and the idea is that it's to have interface with people directly and have a profound experience talking about what we are calling deep soul work. And we'll go over the contents of the workshops, and I'm very, very excited about it. At each one of the cities, there's going to be a slightly different focus, a slightly different theme for the workshops. I'm going to be presenting in San Diego, in San Francisco, in Beaverton, Oregon, in Rockford, Illinois, in New Bern, North Carolina, and then in Washington, D.C., as well as Toronto, Canada. And so people are kind of signing up and gathering, and then there's promotion going on in each one of those cities. I'll be most likely doing also something in Los Angeles as well. And talk a little bit about the idea of this tour. The theme is gathering the community, and I feel like it's very, very timely because it's appropriate for a sense of community to germinate, perhaps a new sense of community to germinate, especially in North America. And so I will be coming from India, where I've been for the last about 4.5 years, and spreading some of the things that I've learned here, sharing lots of experiences and stories. And also the idea is building even more connection between East and West. So there's lots about the synthesis and unity of Eastern ideas and thought and Western idea, and as well as, from my other travels in Africa, South America, Eastern Europe, and such. So it's going to be about bringing together a spirit from the planet, different cultures and such. So I'm anticipating it being a very, very rich and auspicious experience with each stop. And so I've invited all of you to help kind of discuss it. And if you have any questions about it, I want to share what people will be experiencing, what it'll be like, and in particular the different teachings that will be aimed towards the needs and the receptivity of different cities as well, of the region. So Washington, D.C. is going to be different than Rockford, Illinois. Rockford, Illinois is going to be different than San Francisco, which is going to be different than Oregon. So
Are you going to have people participating from other countries?
there will be people, well, other countries, Canada. I'm going to be doing an event in Toronto. Also, we're going to be live streaming parts of it. So there will be people I know that will be following along from India.
Yeah.
And
Because I was thinking if part of what you're trying to make known, I can't think of the right way of saying it, is connecting other cultures for a sense of a world community. A
yeah,
sense of, like, some countries have more of a sense of community than the United States does. And I would
yes.
think that you would want to have people from some of those other countries to sort of get more visceral sense of that. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Well, certainly. I mean, the scope of it is going to be, well, the focus, of course, is North America. It's the North America tour. And other people will be able to chime in because, as I said, some of it will be live streamed. And of course, that's global.
Yeah.
And there will be people that may be chiming in from Europe. As I said, there will be people, I've basically friends and family here in India as well that will be following along. Um, and of course, this, with the work and success of this tour, as I'm going to be uh, participating and bringing it to multiple cities, will make it easier to also present it in other countries as well.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily just going to stop in North America. And so that's the idea. And so naturally, organically, if you will, other peoples will be able to chime in. But as I said, I spent years in Asia, and I've been in multiple countries in Asia the last few years. So I'm going to be bringing a lot of my own experiences and stuff and such, and being able to have some pretty deep discussions and perspectives based on direct experience. Yeah. And so if you will allow me, I want to go over some of the workshop topics that I think you might find interesting. You might find even exciting. The first will be to be divinely magnetized, the deeper principles of attraction. The next one is your secret truth and the vibratory blessed messages. Third is eternal living water and endless blessing. Number four is activism and spiritual self-care. Number five is the secrets of the next unfoldment. Each one of these, there will be a different emphasis. So each workshop is designed to explore an aspect of spirituality, community, and what I often refer to as spiritual growth or enlightenment issues. Things that people find or realize or find perhaps even challenging in their growth along their spiritual journey. This will be like a chance to delve deep into these areas, and it will also be a chance to see and share with like friends and neighbors and such what they have experienced on their own journey, and to learn from each other. So the idea is that there's going to be some important networking that will occur in this tour. So I'm very excited about interfacing with lots of different people. Now it's like, for example, in Oregon, I'm going to be addressing a community that's very much associated with the Ananda community, which is associated with or is an offshoot of Self-Realization Fellowship. So the program that's going to be presented to them in their sanctuary is going to be something that is deeply spiritual and oriented towards that worldview, and perhaps even it'll resonate with, say, Yogananda's original mission of blending and introducing East and West together. So that's going to be kind of like a focus that will be presented up in Oregon. In Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, we're going to be presenting a program called Activism and Spiritual Self-Care, which will be addressing people who are involved in activism and politics and such, so that they can avoid the fatigue and burnout, and to be able to be of sustained service on a social level in an ongoing way, so that they remain healthy and vibrant throughout their lives, in an ongoing way. And so there's going to be a day-long workshop that's going to be addressing that community. And let's see, in Toronto, the program will be different again. The programs in Toronto will be about the manifestation and bringing the learning to be, as I say, divinely magnetized for the principles of attraction. And so each program, each city, there's going to be a slightly different emphasis. And as I said before, probably the main lectures of the workshop will be live streamed, so other people can watch and uh, uh, be able to ask questions and get some of the material and some of the benefit. So so I would want to know if there's any particular question that you all might have, and because as you have questions, other people will probably have the same questions. So this will be a good chance to answer and delve into it a little bit.
I'm not sure if what I have to say is exactly a question.
Hmm.
It may turn out to be a question.
Uh-huh.
I know that a lot of people these days are really concerned about the direction the world, in particular the United States, is going in. And it seems to be going downhill spiritually or consciously. Uh,
Hmm.
Consciousness seems to be going downhill. Or those in power uh, seem to, I don't know, it's sort of depressing to a lot of people. Um, and it seems to me, and I think it seems to a lot of other people, is that when things get bad enough, um, then people step up to the plate. In other words, something emerges from the deep soul need to do that.
Hmm.
And so it can be a boost to consciousness rather than the other way around.
Hmm.
And so my understanding is that at the heart of what you're attempting to do is to um, give people more of a sense of community. Because people feel separated from each other. They feel as though, dog eat dog world, and, they don't have a sense of that we're in this together.
Yes. Yeah.
And um, and those that don't have like political power feel disempowered, and don't realize the power of consciousness, the power of
Yes.
community, the power of what I call the divine, which is love, truth, intelligence, um, inspiration, integrity, and so on.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The intention is like whenever one does a project like this, there is uh, there's the way that what we present, and that may be interesting and phenomenal and informative and all of that. But you are correct. There's also a deeper purpose. There's a deeper
Give people
mission.
hope that there's something that is
Yeah,
in
yeah,
integrity and powerful.
precisely. So it's about really bringing a deeper message. Okay, the message being that, amongst other things, that we cannot get stuck in helplessness and then sort of get caught in that spiritual psychic ditch, if you will, and that um, and when things feel hopeless, or when there is that malaise in the community, in the people and such, that there needs to be something that that triggers a new birth, a new growth,
Right.
even a, dare I say, renaissance, if you will. That these kinds of recovery happens when the right seeds are planted, you see. And so the idea of going from coast to coast, speaking to multiple cities, different communities, talking about soul, talking about things that are hopeful, getting into practical strategies and thoughts, and doing the requisite networking that is important. It is on a deeper level. It's like an introjection of activating and initiating our capacity to recover as a community, as a society, you see. So there is that deep spiritual mission associated with this deep soul work. So for me, this is very exciting. I feel like it's going to have a positive impact. So so I'm very sure, and I'm very certain it'll be good. So it feels like more than just a simple attempt. I think that we're gonna see some things germinating and triggering, and it is actually very much, I think, an honor and very exciting to be part of it, to step into that mode, because uh, I'm of the feeling that that's why we're here in the first place. I think
Yeah,
that's what we
I
came
definitely
for.
think some of us came here for exactly such a time as these. I
Precisely,
feel as though I'm
precisely.
here for this purpose.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
think
exactly.
it's not just recovering; it is um, stepping up a notch higher.
Yes,
Is
yeah, exactly. And so I'm very keen on the idea of presenting a context, a vessel, an excuse for that activation. You see, uh, that the enacting of that potential that is there, that is already there. It just needs the right kind of nurturing,
yeah,
the correct invocations that activate
or
the
invitation.
potential. Exactly, the invitation. So this is how I'm thinking of it. This is like a very sacred work, if you will, and this is what I'm most excited about bringing to people. To people, facilitating this experience in multiple cities, uh, and different communities and such, and which is
Might say
why yeah, you see, which is why I call this tour uh, a gathering of community. Yeah,
yeah,
gathering of
community is
community.
really important.
Hmm.
The whole concept of community, and another way to describe this, you could say, is as a new concept of empowerment. That's what this country and the world needs to get a new concept of what empowerment
Yeah,
is.
exactly. So, and so I think of it like this. It's like, if we find ourselves in life with even half a chance, half a possibility, it's like we're obligated to seize that, to jump on it, to uh, shoot our best shot in order to make it happen. And see, so
Sorry.
this is the kind of like the spirit, for me. It's like the spirit of it. It's like something that one almost can't not do, you see. And so this is how I think about it. But I like to hear what either Leslie or Dion might have to say, or how this sounds to them.
Well, for me, it sounds like a very huge undertaking, especially going from place to place and trying to connect what went on in one place to bringing the community together in the next place. So I would have questions as to the flow. Are you going to, and when you did begin to explain it, you you had different workshops in different places. So
Hmm.
it I was wondering what the continuity between those places, and are you going? How long are you going to be there? Will you have 2 days? Will you do one one workshop, and then the next day you do another workshop, and then go to another state and do those same two in a different way, so that there's a continuity with what everyone is getting, the information that they're getting, this connection between the two places. Because to me, that's what's necessary right now, us
Yes.
really
Yeah.
getting together. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the it's an interesting question, because I think that some there are more possibilities now,
Mm-hmm.
and there's more receptivity now in the
Definitely.
country,
Yes.
in the world now. So there's more of a possibility of listening and hearing, and there's a more of a hunger for this
Mm-hmm.
kind
I
of
see
thing.
it.
So and so so the idea, and which is exciting to me, is utilizing certainly the technology and the possibilities you see that are
Mm-hmm.
available now that were not necessarily available in previous eras and previous times. So it's like even utilizing uh, streaming technology, video technology, ways
Mm-hmm.
of recording, and within the same day sending information throughout the community, throughout the mailing list, throughout the social media,
Yeah.
almost in real time, is has this quality of knitting together the content. Yes,
Understood.
there's going to be different flavors and different stops, which I think is important,
Mm-hmm.
because there needs to be this for things to be authentic and rich, a diversity of perspectives and ways of looking at things, so that we get different views, and then
Mm-hmm.
can share and have a bigger a bigger discussion, a bigger understanding. Um, so there is, of course, the common theme: gathering of community and deep soul work. So is quite naturally there's going to be some resonance,
Okay.
because we all have our soul. We all feel a longing for connection. We all collectively, as Jane pointed out, there has been this malaise and this sense of hope kind of waning, and so we're all emotionally kind of responding, or sort of are on a similar page, and so different communities responding to the
Mm-hmm.
same condition, I think is very important. So I think that the sense of continuity will be there. I
Okay.
think that it's going to be, we're going to be weaving a very profound experience, like on a collective level, and so it'll offer this opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to kind of check in, and tap into, maybe even in communities that you would, in cities that you might never otherwise interface with at
Yeah.
all, but still being able to kind of touch in on these common themes, these you see these common human themes that we're all facing, like,
Yeah.
at this time.
So I do have another question. Deep
Uh-huh.
soul work. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Is there? Can you just give a little bit of a hint as to what that
Ah,
might be? Yeah.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Deep soul work. I use that term because, first of all, because it's broad enough that it can encompass different kinds of traditions and practices and
Okay.
such. But the main thing about deep soul work that I see, that I would want to um, uh, bring out about it, is that it is. it is the courage, the quality of heart, the longing to delve deep into the essence of one's identity and ask the critical questions, i.e., why am I here?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why did the universe see fit that I should even occur? All right. What does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
What does the actualization of that intent and purpose look like?
Okay.
How do we reconcile the truth of our condition where we find ourselves identity wise, and all of that? And what does that mean in the world now, i.e., the challenges, the particular sets of seemingly existential challenges that are confronting humanity at this time. So it's like the deep soul work is the courage to delve deep,
Understood.
the courage to go there. You see what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. Yeah, I do.
And then getting the support of like-minded people that see that value, that see the value too, and say, yes, yes, indeed, we
Right.
can go there. There's a reason. There's a value
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
going there. And so this is what deep soul work
The work is.
is about.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
Jane, yeah, yeah. Let's see. I muted you because you were typing, and we were just hearing typing. So you can unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had a bunch of thoughts, and I hope I can unjumble them. But
Uh-huh.
so I grew up in the hippie era.
Mm-hmm.
I was born like just a month before the atomic bombs ended World War II,
Mm-hmm.
and I started out. I read "Be Here Now" and tried to understood the importance of in the present moment. It's a whole
Mm-hmm.
different. Um, so we've lived in a whole paradigm, and we've lived through different paradigms of reality, and that was a really major one. And now we're in
Mm-hmm.
another one, and the the perception or paradigm of what power is um, has been built upon until it just become very corrupt ideas. It's gone from something that was particular workable paradigm to something that's just gone over the edge, in my opinion. And um, and we're ready to jump into a new one because um, the old one is based on what I like to use the word term plumb line of what you orient yourself around, something defined by other people based on the old guard or whatever that's called, into stepping into, okay, that's what those guys in the past generation, you could say, set up, and they sort of brought it to its full, as far as it can go, and we see where we are there. And that's not working, and that's not how I see things. I'm not in that. I'm not sure what generation you call me. I'm old,
Mm-hmm.
but uh, my parents were definitely in a different generation, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, so now I get to define things. I'm
Yeah.
on a different platform here, and I, through a lot of work, have gotten to the place where I can look out and actually come into present moment reality and be here now. I'm able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And that, in a sense, you could say defines what an adult is, because you look out and you say, oh, okay, I have, mom's not going to tell me what to do or how to do it. I have to see there and respond and learn how to. So, being here now, I'm not sure where I'm going with this, or maybe I'm not going where. At any rate, we are now in a position where it's time for us to define reality in a different way from
Yes.
now, not from being defined in the past, and certainly the concept of empowerment or power. I think that's a really, really important subject to
Yes. Yeah.
understand the difference between human physical power and divine power,
Yes.
spiritual power,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
what that actually means.
So
Yes. Yeah. I think that's critically important, and I think that's what this is about. I see it as something very, very simple, which is simply dealing with what's on your plate in front of you now.
Yes,
Like, what is the world?
absolutely.
What is the world presenting? What are the challenges? What exactly are the needs that are presented to you at this moment, at this
And
instant? And then and a capacity to bring your whole self to it. You
yeah,
see, to address it and engage it. And so
so there's
that.
something I'd like to discuss about this particular issue. If you don't, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Um, so I like to make the distinction between situations that people sort of
Mhm,
define situations and present moment, here and now.
mhm,
And so letting people define reality for us by situations is a big mistake, because um, they can be in situations are open to interpretation. They're very subjective how you define what's happening. And there's a
mhm,
lot of reasons why, and people, interpret things completely different ways. And it can be quite complex, whereas the only thing that really exists, as we all know, in the spiritual world, is the present moment, and moment
mhm,
by moment. Now, there is the question that I have, that when you see a worldwide situation in
mhm.
which um, is larger than just the present moment, what we do moment by moment is all we can do. That's the only actual
Yeah,
power we
yeah,
have. Um, and,
yeah.
and that's open to divine guidance. And that's how we get divine guidance.
Yes, yes, certainly,
Sure, I'm going
certainly.
with that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well,
this
yeah. Well, I would say that it's like responding to what is, responding to what's in front of one, what's on your plate now, is in essence, it's the opposite of the helplessness,
Right,
the states of helplessness, what I sometimes refer to as toxic helplessness.
right.
It
I
is
completely agree.
the things that the world is sort of showing us and throwing at us now is perhaps even to a certain degree by uh, design to invoke that helpless state. Okay, that helplessness, that helplessness is very akin to and is very much an infantile kind of state. It is the state that we're in, like right as infants and right after we're born. And so much trauma and even induced trauma is designed to throw us back into that early helpless helpless state. So much of spirituality and all the talk of empowerment, I see as as the work, the practice of breaking that spell. You see, all the different vestiges of infantile helplessness that gets woven into our behavior and expresses itself even in our adulthood, you see,
Yeah.
I would suggest
Yeah.
is the issue. And
Or you could call it, what are you going to use as your plumb line?
yeah, yeah,
Are
yeah,
you going
yeah,
to,
yeah, exactly. In uh, breaking out of that pattern, the reactivity to fall into infantile states of helplessness, even in the face of challenges that require consciousness, that require presence, require adult, mature adult, uh, even executive functioning to address. And so much of this teaching and what we're challenged to do is to figure out, well, how do we keep ourselves awake? How do we keep ourselves present? How do we shield and buttress ourselves from falling into the helplessness, the that mode of thinking. And so it's like that's one of the things that I feel like what deep soul work does is it gives us the strength and the means to remain present, to
Yeah.
remain engaged, remain initiated into our our activism or into our awake states, to be able to address and deal with um, what is necessary. And
Well, just the term deep soul. Oh, go ahead. I've talked a lot.
yeah,
I just
Leslie.
wanted to know, yeah. So the
Mhm.
deep soul work then becomes, are they practices that allow you to get into that space? Are there practices that allow you to release the things that are keeping us stuck? So that's what I want to understand also.
Yes, yes, yeah. So deep soul work, and the thing is that all of the great uh, spiritual traditions really address this issue. Mindfulness,
Hmm.
what you find in Buddhism, being present, being awake, renewing one's life, stepping into one's stepping out of the mist, as Jung would say, and then coming into consciousness, or being born into one's life, i.e., born again. All of the different traditions have means and ways of engaging,
Rewiring, yeah.
exactly, engaging and doing this deep soul work. So the idea is to recognize and understand that finding uh, the way that you as an individual can utilize to wake up, stay awake, stay present,
Mm-hmm.
come to a self awareness, or as some would say, self realization. So in that sense, it's not new, but it's an acknowledgement of all of the myriad of ways in which humans have found to to facilitate presence.
Okay.
Okay, and of course it's like the support, the networking, the bonding, the community, uh, that of like-minded people who are making the same kinds of, who are motivated by a desire for realization, a desire to know oneself, the desire to figure out why they
Mhm.
are here in the first place.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
that's the way I would describe it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and so it's like, for me, it's like a very powerful thing to have even the privilege of, like, facilitating spaces, creating like the vessel for this kind of discussion and conversation, and a chance to, like, interface with people, and to very intentionally use the technology and the means, the special things that we have in this era to 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 help create community and connection in ways that, as I said, were not available before.
Right.
It's just striking me that we're sort of the way or the head something of a new era, just like the hippies were.
Uh-huh.
The leaders
Yeah.
are the spearheads
Hmm.
to a new era, and
Hmm.
it happens when the human need and when things get so bad, people realize, okay, this won't do, and then they sort
Hmm.
of give up the safety of the old thing, and the new thing
Yes.
can
Yeah.
be born. It's
Yes.
pretty
Yeah.
damn exciting.
Yeah. 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 It's pretty exciting. I've been working for a few years with the idea of what sometimes is referred to, or what I've called the principle of a collective avatarhood. That means that in previous eras, it's there's been
Just one.
central powerful figures who have showed up, like Buddha, Christ, a Muhammad, or uh, you know Yogananda, or any number of singular figures that embodied that avatarhood, the bringer of the message that retrieves and saves and recovers humanity. I think we're in an era and in time now in which we are presented with uh, the
Collective.
task, the task, the challenge of collective avatarhood, the cultivating, the activating of the collective avatarhood, meaning that we all as a community embody that capacity, the particular frequencies that come into the earth when there has been a saturation of distress, when there's
Yes.
been this critical mass of distress and difficulty, that it it pulls and it elicits a particular frequency that triggers a
Yes,
recovery. And
absolutely.
so this is a time, I feel like, that we are challenged with doing it consciously,
Yeah.
collectively, and that we embody that that uh, that
Christ avatar.
figure, this,
Mhm.
yeah, the collective Christ, the collective
Mhm.
Buddha, the collective frequency of that retrieves the world, or retrieves humanity, and that we have the means now, and it's indeed appropriate now to embody that avatar frequency, that collective avatar. And so it's like, to the degree that we can consciously and deliberately play our part to step into that mode, this is what feels like is the work that we're
Yeah.
challenged with now. I'm suggesting that this
Is
is
the
closer to what it looks like. So it's like, when we talk about what's the underlying motivation for for doing a deep soul work tour of North America, what's the value? It's like, what could it mean in a larger sense? I think is very closely associated with this kind of spirit, these kinds of idea, the idea of gathering community and aligning
Giving
on a
people hope
meaningful level.
of a new paradigm.
Precisely,
is
precisely.
yeah, yeah. Is it about, on some levels, I want to say, is it really about giving people hope rather than more allowing what is already inside of them to be birthed? Because we
Exactly. Yeah.
come in here with everything. We just have to
Yes.
find it within ourselves. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's true. It is about an activation. It is more about
Yeah.
Yeah,
activation
an activation.
than
Yeah,
any one of us feeling like we bring it, and then we
right.
deliver it. It's more about the um,
Collective
yeah,
activation.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, exactly. The collective activation. It is
yeah,
discovering what is there, because it's
yeah,
this. It's like Jane talked about the early the hippie days, and I remember those days too. Uh, the
I was
same
just a kid.
the same spirit. It's the same impulse. You see,
Yes.
people were infused with a certain impulse. It's like, let's come together.
Now
You know,
remember anti-establishment and
love one
happenings.
another and no war and all of that. So it was the same impulse. But
Yeah,
I'm
love, not
suggesting
war.
exactly. But I'm suggesting that there has been a maturing, of the expression that we bring it forth, utilize because we're older now, we're utilizing the means and the wisdom to deliver it really, really effectively. And so
Michael, we
this
have been at the beginnings of two eras.
exactly. Oh yes,
You and
no,
I.
yeah. Well, but this is precisely what I'm saying. This is precisely what I'm saying. Well, let's look. Let's do a little deep soul work here, okay? We chose this time. Why is it that we get the privilege of seeing within our lifetime at least two sparks of the unfoldment of human potential?
Amazing,
You
huh?
see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So this is the excitement that I'm trying to sort of talk about here. You see, that
Yeah,
we get to be participants. As I like to say, uh, step onto the big stage in this regard. And
Yeah.
so, um, for me, that's the fun, that's the excitement, that's the
yeah.
motivation. So,
Excellent.
Very, very cool.
yeah. So, I think that I would like to invite the people that will be listening to this and are listening to this to um, kind of tap into and follow uh, the Deep Soul Work Tour, North America 2024. In the space below in this video, we're going to have all the key pertinent information, uh, the dates of the different cities that will be I'll be showing up at, and so that people can follow, people can kind of tap in and follow it and participate as they can. And so I want to thank all of you for participating and bringing out the the intent and the excitement and the aim of what this how this tour will be. And so I thank you once again.
I thank you,
And
Michael, for
Thank
what
you,
you're
Michael.
doing.
Yeah.
okay, bye bye now.